We have a new story we'll read today called The Frog Prince. Let's review some story elements, and we're going to add a new one in today, and you'll get to do an activity after we're done. So let's review what we know about different parts of a story. Last week, we talked about characters. Characters are the people, animals, creatures in a story. So Little Red Cowboy Hat, she was a person. If you're reading the story time on Mondays, Miss Dennison read the 3 little javelinas, they were animals, or the 3 little pigs, they were animals. We haven't read anything with creatures yet. The little red hen, she was a character with the dog and the goose and the cat. So we're going to look at characters in the story that we have today, and let's talk about setting. Setting is where and when the story takes place. Little Red Cowboy Hat was in the desert at her grandma's house. Little Red Hen was at her home. The 3 little pigs was in the woods and at the pig's house. So we'll keep looking at characters and setting in a book. Today we're going to talk about the elements of a story. And it's called the plot, and I won't spend a lot of time on this poster because I don't use the word plot very much. What we typically talk about is beginning, middle, end. The main events. So the plot is a series of events in a story. So a series is in order. What comes first? What comes next? What comes last? And then at the end of reading this book, you'll get to draw your own picture of what happened in this story at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Okay, my book today is called The Frog Prince. This is the front cover of the book. The back is the back cover. The spine keeps the book together. The covers on both ends, just like when you put the covers on top of you, it protects you from getting cold at night, but the cover of the book protects all the pages inside. The Frog Prince, retold by Edith Tarkov, illustrated by James Marshall. So right away I see a frog, he's wearing a crown. The Frog Prince, he might be a prince. Let's find out. Here's the title again. This is called the title page. The Frog Prince. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess. She had a golden ball, and it was her favorite plaything. She took it everywhere she went. So who's our character? The princess. One day, the princess was playing in the woods near a well. She threw her ball high into the air. It fell, splash, into the well. The princess watched her golden ball sink deep into the water of the well, and she began to cry. She cried harder and harder. Suddenly, someone said, "What is the matter, princess? Why are you making so much noise?" The princess looked around. She looked into the well. An ugly little frog was looking up at her. The frog asked again, "What is the matter, princess?" "Oh, it's you, you old water splasher," the princess said. "My golden ball has fallen into the well. That is why I am crying." So what's the setting? Where are they at? They are at the well. Our 2 characters are the princess and the frog so far. "Stop crying," said the frog. "Maybe I can help you. What will you give me if I get your ball for you?" "I will give you whatever you want, dear frog," said the princess. "Would you like my fine silk dress, or my necklace of pearls, or would you like my golden crown?" "No," said the frog. "What would I do with your fine silk dress, or your necklace of pearls? And what would I do with your golden crown?"
What are you talking to?
I'm talking to the camera. My little toddler is also eating lunch and watching the story. "What do you want then?" the princess asked. The frog looked at the beautiful princess. He said, "I want to be your friend and playmate. I want to sit with you at the supper table. I want to eat with you from your golden plate and drink with you from your golden cup. I want to sleep on your fine silk pillow. If you promise to let me do these things, I will get your ball for you." I wonder if she'll do it. I promise, said the princess. Oh, the princess said. She thought, how could this nasty little frog come to the castle and be my playmate? He has to stay here in his well. And she said again, I promise. Now the frog went down deep into the well. Soon he came up with the golden ball in his mouth. He threw it into the grass. Oh, said the princess, my golden ball! She picked it up and ran away. Did she keep her promise? She said she'd let him eat with her, play with her, sleep on her pillow, but she just ran away. Wait, wait, cried the frog. Take me with you. I can't go as fast. But the princess did not wait. She ran home to the castle, and soon she forgot all about the poor little frog. That was not very nice of that princess. The next day at supper time, the princess sat at the table with her father, the king, and all the people of the court. Suddenly, everyone heard some strange noises outside. Splish, splash, splish, splash. Now what is the setting? Where is the story? They're at the castle. It was the sound of wet little feet coming up the stairs to the castle. Then, flip, flap, flip, flap, there was a slippery little knock at the door. Someone called, Princess, princess, open up! Princess, princess, let us sup! The princess ran to the door and opened it. Who came knocking on the palace door, the castle door? The frog. When she saw the frog, she shut the door quickly. The princess came running back to the table. The king looked at her. What are you afraid of, daughter? He asked. Is there a giant at the door who wants to carry you off? Oh, no, father, said the princess. It is not a giant. It is a nasty little frog. The princess told her father how the frog had found her ball, and she told him about her promise. I promised I would let him be my friend and playmate, she said, but I never thought he could come out of the well. Flip, flap, flip, flap. There was that slippery little knock again, and someone called, Princess, princess, open up. Princess, princess, let us sup. Remember who brought you the ball that fell? Remember your promise by the well? You must keep your promise, daughter, said the king. Open the door and let the frog in. And so the princess had to open the door. Our two characters again, the princess and the frog. And they're at the castle is our setting. The frog hopped in and followed her to the table. He stopped by her chair. Pick me up and put me next to your plate, said the frog. Go ahead, the king said. Do as the frog said. You must keep your promise. The princess had to put the frog on the table. Everyone could see that she really did not want to do it. Look at her face. She goes, yuck. The frog ate with the princess from her golden plate, and he drank with her from her golden cup. The frog liked his supper very much, but the princess could not eat a thing. At last the frog said, Now I am ready to go to sleep. Carry me to your bedroom and put me on your fine silk pillow. The princess began to cry. Stop crying, said the king. Do as the frog says. You made a promise and you must keep it. And so the princess had to carry the frog to her bedroom. She took hold of him with 2 fingers and she put him in a corner. But the frog said, I am tired. I want to go to sleep on a fine bed, just like you. Put me on your silk pillow, or I will tell your father. That made the princess very angry. She picked up the frog and she threw him against the wall. But when he fell to the floor, the frog was no longer a frog. That wasn't very nice. She just threw him. But now he's not a frog anymore. What happened? Now he was a tall prince with beautiful, kind eyes, and he was smiling at the princess. "A wicked witch turned me into a frog," he said, "but now the spell is broken." The very next day, the prince and the princess were married. A golden coach with 8 white horses drove up to the castle. The prince now took the princess to his own land, and they lived there happily forever after. The end. Let's talk about some elements. Beginning, middle, end. At the beginning of the story, what happened? The princess had her golden ball, and she dropped it in the well. That was the first thing that happened. That was a problem. What happened in the middle of the story? We know she made a promise and said, "I'll be your playmate, you can come to my castle," and she didn't keep it. But later in the story, a couple different things happened. But the frog came to the castle. That happened in the middle of the story. Now, what happened at the end of the story? We know the frog came and ate dinner and went to her bedroom, and she threw him against the wall. And what happened at the end? He turned into a prince, and then they lived happily ever after. What I want you to do at home is get a piece of paper, and it can have lines on it. It's okay. You're going to draw a picture. Have your family help you, or whoever your helper is. Take the paper and you're going to fold it into 3 sections. So I'm going to lay it down to fold it, but just like that, fold it into thirds. I might be able to do it. Actually, I can do it upright. Fold it into thirds. With your pencil, I want you to write B, M, L. B for beginning, M for middle, B, M, E. I'm sorry, B, M, E. Beginning, middle, end. I'm going to write that. B, M, E. I'm also going to draw some lines in the middle so that I can see the crease better. Then you will draw a picture of something that happened at the beginning of the story, one thing that happened in the middle of the story, and one thing that happened at the end. So think about what happened at the beginning of The Frog Prince. The princess was by the well. Draw a picture of her by the well with her golden ball talking to the frog. What happened in the middle? You could talk about what happened at dinner. The frog came to the castle. Think about what you want to draw. You can draw whatever you want, as long as it's in order. And then what happened at the end? He turned into a prince, and they got married, and they lived happily ever after. So let me show you the example that I have when it's done. So at the beginning of the story, the princess was by the well, and she was talking to the frog. I'll show it a little closer. And you can draw a similar picture to what I have here, but if something happened in the middle that you want to talk about, you can do that. In the middle of the story, we know that the frog followed the princess to the castle. So here's the princess opening the door to the castle, and there's our little frog there. And then at the end of the story, we know he turned into a prince, they got married, and they lived happily ever after. We will do this activity 4 times this week. Today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So every day, I want you to find a piece of paper. It's okay if it has lines on it or a blank piece of paper. I want you to fold it into thirds. Put B, M, E for beginning, middle, end at the top, and draw a picture of what happened during those times in the story. Next week, we're going to reread 3 Little Pigs, and I'm going to ask you what happened at the beginning of the story. Tell me something that happened in the middle. Tell me something that happened to the end. So that's why we're practicing this, because I'm going to ask you next week. I want to know if you can retell the story to me. Now it's your turn. Get your piece of paper.